Hello and welcome to my podcast about the solicitations for January 2023. And this is only for DC Comics. I have my usual pull up of the DC Connect and the Newsarama solicitations. I will be just checking the Connect issue because I want to know if we are what DC is prioritizing in their advertising, and then I'll go to the main solicitations, and of course skip over the stuff that I'm not reading. So here we go on DC Connect. It's starting out with Lazarus Planet, which is a 2-month, technically 7-week event. The way they've structured it seems like 7 oversized anthology books all tied around something. They say Mark Waid is the showrunner, but he's only writing one thing for it. The way this event works is not clear to me. It is interesting that it's sort of taking the same 2-month structure that Future State did in 2021. Yes, 2021. I don't know. But it's not tying all the titles together. All the titles are continuing on while this is going on. So I don't know. My prediction that we're getting the what's it called? The relaunch or rebranding, not a reboot, not like a major reset, but a rebranding. Like everyone gets a cool top banner that, and they say first issue in a new ongoing story arc or something. My prediction is that that's happening in March, but it's looking like there might be, like I might be wrong, just because there's starting arcs that won't be completed in March. So I don't really know what's going on. That's the big thing they're advertising here. So on the cover, on the table of contents, we have our more Lazarus Planet, Nightwing 100. What is that one? It's a Batman, and I don't know which one. And then Action Comics, starting up in January, has this whole new format, which we're going to talk about. They also have in their trades Robin, the Teen Titans, which is really cool because I really like Beast Boy Loves Raven. That was a really cool entry, and Robin was a big character in it. Nice House on the Lake is coming to a conclusion, so they're advertising the trades, and they're selling Sandman because of the TV show. So yeah, and of course, first thing is always Batman. So that almost never changes. And they're saying this is a new story arc without Batman, but Bruce Wayne. I think it's funny because Chip Zdarsky said on his Substack that Marvel let him have Matt Murdock running around for like a year without being Daredevil. And it seems like he might be going to the same well with Batman, but he said he wouldn't be able to because Batman has to be Batman. Now we'll see. I did see an interesting prediction, which is something I've been thinking about, which is that the failsafe arc is going to end with Bruce Wayne or Batman figuring out how to get failsafe to stop, because sort of like a logic track, sort of like an Isaac Asimov robot story, honestly. I think that so far we're about 2/3 of the way through the arc, 2 issues left. Everything has failed to stop failsafe so far in terms of brute force and even skill. So I think that is probably what's going to happen. I think it would be cooler if he could get failsafe to join his team, but I don't know if that's going to happen. The person who predicted this on Twitter was very disappointed and said this is very cliche. And I'm like, I think the execution's been really cool. We'll see if it's done in a very dissatisfying way, but I don't mind a retelling or a new look at the same theme or same structure if I'm really engaged in how is going. And of course, the art is really gorgeous by Jorge Jimenez. This art's going to be by Mike Hawthorne. And then the backup's going to be Adriano Di Benedetto. Doesn't hint at what the backup is, but all right, we're going to head over to our solicitations. And so again, Batman. Let's take a look at all the variants. So this is our main cover by Jorge Jimenez. This is a variant by Jason Fabok. A variant by Art Germ. Interesting. Art Germ's doing a lot of variants this month. Some of them are not complete. I don't know if this one's complete or not. It looks cool. David Nakayama and Joe Quesada. So Joe Quesada was a big thing. He used to be the head of Marvel, and then he stepped down from being head, and he was like an advisor guy who's really high up. And lately he left or was fired. I'm not sure which. And now he's doing some Batman variant covers. I will be really interested. It feels like someone doesn't get to where Quesada or Jim Lee is and do regular comics, but he could do like a mini series, like that he does all together, sort of like what Mark Silvestri's doing right now. And then there's a black and white. So, yep. And here's our Lazarus Planet cover by Jorge Corona. Is that the main cover? So that's a variant. It's weird how they organize these covers. I wish whoever did Newsarama would do images starting with the main cover and then do it in order of solicitations. But so this says it's following on Batman versus Robin number 4. They haven't solicited Batman versus Robin number 5. Maybe that's going to start in March. It's very confusing. I really don't know what's going on with Batman versus Robin and this Lazarus Planet, if this was always planned or if this is like adapting, sort of like what the New 52 did with Flashpoint, which was an event that was planned, but they didn't originally plan it to be the reboot. I'm not enjoying Batman versus Robin. I'm not reading World's Finest, so I'm not super excited about this. I know there's a ton of cool characters in this, but it's just not for me. I do think it's weird because it says Mark Waid is showrunning, but he's only listed as a writer on the first of these 4 issues listed here, and then there's 3 more in February. So he's probably going to do like the Alpha and Omega issues, but I just don't understand this event. I'm not excited about it. I don't know what the excitement level is. But honestly, it feels a lot like that event they did. Oh, what was it called? Frozen World? It was right before Future State, wasn't it? Let me do a double check on that. DC Solicitations, December 2020. So just before Future State. Let's see, what was it called? Endless Winter. This feels a lot like Endless Winter, which was a weekly Justice League event where they just did all the Justice League titles and ended a bunch of series. And it did not feel like very many people were excited for that. DC did give it decent advertising, but I just saw no one talking about it at the time. And then I have seen absolutely no one talking about it since. Part of that is because it was immediately followed by Future State. And even though that wasn't the most popular of events, people still talk about it because it launched Infinite Frontier. A lot of what happened in Future State was either a preview with the creative teams or was shaped what happened. Like clearly what happened in the Batman books was what James Tynion IV had planned, and he worked together with those teams while he was writing Fear State, which obviously was connected to Future State. It's a weird thing, but this feels a lot more like Endless Winter, and I think it's going to vanish. I don't think anyone's going to care, even though they're putting top talent on it. Because the talent on Endless Winter was pretty decent. So, a bunch of this stuff. I'm just going to skip through it because I'm not excited about it. Sorry. Monkey Prince is also connected to that. Batman and the Joker, not excited about that either. Batman, Nightwing 100. So this is a milestone, is not advertised as the end of the run. They've only been on the book for, I want to say, well, it's 2 years. So 24 issues. So about 75-ish, just after 75. This is a, what do you call it? This is a 56-page issue, which means there's probably 48 pages, so it's roughly double-sized. Bunch of ads, maybe 46, but roughly double-sized. So double-sized to me means 48. Most annuals are 38 or 39. It's a weird number. I don't know why. So here's a variant by Babs Tarr, Dick Babs. Of course, they're doing Dick Babs as the big selling point, which I think is cool. I really don't like this run, but I understand why it's popular. Here is the Nightwing 100. I appreciate seeing little Steph there. That's great. This is Jorge Fornes, so very heavy on the design elements there. Not the best cover by Fornes I've seen. Dan Mora doing a two-tone cover with all the different Nightwings and Dick Graysons. Very cool. Jorge Jimenez doing an homage to his Batman and Catwoman for Batman number 50. And that one was very sort of angsty and sexy. This one is sexy, but like there's just so much fun. So that's a really tempting one. I don't actually know who that one is. That's Travis Moore. Teen Titans with Dick Grayson. That's cute. This is Jamal Campbell. That's really pretty. It is Agent 37 Erasure, which I am sad at. Someone pointed out it's also Rick Grayson's Erasure. I don't care about that. No one cares about that. Again, we got a Steph here, so I'm happy, and a Huntress, which makes me also really happy. Oh, let me go back and see if on the big one is Huntress in. Yes, so Huntress is here too. So big wins for Stephanie Brown and Huntress fans on the covers there, even though probably only going to be like one panel, if that. And here's, I think, the acetate where they're going to do the main cover. You lift it off, and then you see this draft version with Bruno Redondo and Tom Taylor making a joke, which is fun, but I definitely wouldn't. So this is $7 with $9, so $2 extra for the acetate, which is disappointing since the acetates DC did 2 Novembers ago in 2020 were the same cover price, I think. Yeah. They did foil covers, I want to say, in 2018. And then maybe it was acetates in 2019. Yeah, it was acetates in 2019. And then 2020 was the pandemic, so they were kind of out of schedule. They took a pause for a month. So they didn't do a special cover event. And then they decided to just go all out on their incentive variants. And this one has a 1 in 25. So the Abstar is 125. Jorge Fornes is 150. That's really not a good 1 in 50, in my opinion. I like Jorge Fornes, but that's not flashy. 1 in 100 is the Dan Moore. And honestly, that one is kind of cool. It's not $100 of cool, though, even with the cool foil. Batman One Bad Day, Bane. This is definitely supposed to be alternate future because it says decades from now. Joshua Williamson has said that he sees Bane as an evil Doc Savage. So I think this is going to be a pulpy adventure. I think that's kind of cool. Art is going to be by Howard Porter. Oh, well, that's disappointing. Means I probably won't be able to read it because every time I try and read a Howard Porter book, my head hurts. Batman: The Adventures continues again. So this is the 3rd season, and they're usually about 7 or 8, sometimes 9 issues long. So it's not like a year-long thing. So they're doing these miniseries. This is by Alan Burnett and Paul Dini again. They do different artists. I don't think Jordan Gibson was the artist before, but I actually wasn't reading these because I, for better or worse, am not just the biggest fan of the animated series. I didn't grow up on it. I watched it in college, not all of it, because I didn't find the animation appealing. There's a lot of things that are really dated just because of the budget for TV and what the techniques were. So things that bother me on an animation technology thing, and it's very petty, I admit, just not for me. And then, of course, a lot of the follow-throughs just really annoy me because of things like Bruce and Babs having sex and stuff like that. Detective Comics by Ram V continues. This is a very interesting issue. It says it's a special Two-Face issue split artistically by Rafael Albuquerque and Ivan Reis, which are both they're both Brazilian artists, so that's cool. Maybe they are working in the same studio. I actually don't know what the working conditions are, but I think that's cool. It says that each page is going to mirror, and also front to back is going to mirror, and that is very similar to what Tom King did in Batman number 50. So there's a bunch of um, pinup art, but every single issue, every story page is actually a mirror of the page across from it. I don't think he did some mirroring, but it wasn't like as perfect as he has done before. I should check that. But this feels very much like a Tom King type neo-formalist thing. So it's cool to see Ramby doing that. I don't hate this run. I don't understand what's going on. I'm not super excited about it, but I do enjoy it because the art is gorgeous and the emotions that Albuquerque Ram V is getting out of me are good. I just I don't like a story I don't understand. And Evan Kegel's been doing the covers, and they're very cool, very heavy on design and strong emotion. So that's good. Don't recognize that one, but I don't hate it. I don't like that cover. And this is Colleen Duran doing an artistic reference. I think that's supposed to be Batman as Satan in the Inferno, and I don't know. I like the one where it's like the death of Icarus, where the three Batgirls are trying to help the dying Batman who looks like Icarus. And that's 1 in 25. They're still doing 1 in 50s. Not a fan of that. And they're doing a new series. I'm actually really mad about this because this is an Outsider series and a Jason Todd series. And it's written by Andy Diggle. And I think that they should have given an Outsider series to Brandon Thomas because he's been doing such an awesome job with Outsiders and Duke Thomas in the pages of Urban Legends. And he did some of that in Future State as well. So it's really frustrating that they're giving this Andy Diggle. I know he's a bigger name, but Brandon Thomas has really proved himself. He's done such a great job with those characters and just storytelling. We have a cover by Carmine Di Giandomenico. Really love his work. That's perfect stuff. And okay, so that's Nathan Zerzi, who's doing a lot of variant cover work. Honestly, I don't like his poses. They feel stiff to me. A lot of people criticize like Art German stuff for being stiff, but I feel like Zerzi is more, but being less appealing and more sexy than, which is saying something for Art Germ. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Zerzi. It's not a draw for me. And interior arts by Carl Mostert, who's doing coloring. Doesn't say who's doing coloring. He might be doing coloring himself. I honestly have never really enjoyed Mostert's art when it's colored. I like it when he posts his black and whites on Twitter, but when it gets colored, it just looks muddy and unappealing because it's like Chris Burnham or Frank Quitely's art, but much less self-assured. Like it looks lumpy. The faces look lumpy, where Burnham and Quitely seem to do that on purpose, and I don't like it when they do it either. I'm not a fan of either of those two artists, but they feel very skilled and assured. Mostert looks accidental, and I don't appreciate the combination of style I don't find appealing, plus a sense that it's not as assured. So that's Batman Legends of Gotham, the only new series of this month. It's weird that they're launching it in January instead of March to me. The anthology, they're not doing it for February, but it's the very end of January because they are going to have like an annual month. So Nightwing, Midnighter and Apollo, Lois and Clark. I like Amanda Deibert sometimes. She's done some good anthology stories in the past. I just don't enjoy. I don't know. This is supposed to be Valentine's Day, but all the Valentine's anthologies I've read in the past have focused on like abnormal or weird. I would prefer a more regular tropey romance. I enjoy the tropes when done not with tongue in cheek, like maybe self-aware, but like you're getting the sincere emotion from them. And these have just been too sarcastic and ironic. Action Comics 1051. So Action Comics 1050 is like a big anniversary issue, and Clark is Return of Clark Kent, with both the Superman Son of Kal-El and Action Comics titles sort of lining up. So it says, so this one I really want to pay attention to because Action Comics is reborn. It's getting 3 epic adventures of Superman and the Super Family. So this is a big thing, Action Comics. And it says that it's 48 pages. Let me check and see what Action Comics was in August. 2 DC Solicitations. All right. Here we go. Action Comics. All right, so Action Comics was solicited at 40 pages, $5.99. So here is the interesting thing. 40 pages is actually 30 pages of content, I believe. It is 20 pages of story and a 10-page backup, so a half-size backup. I think what's likely to happen here is we're getting a 20-page main story by Philip Kennedy Johnson about Superman. We're getting 2 10-page stories, or a 10-page story and an 8-page story. So that'd be 38 pages of story content, 10 pages, 38 to 40 pages of story content. They're starting out by charging $4.99, which is not a change. I am 100% certain that they're going to go up to $5.99 for this because they did the same thing for the Joker. And the excuse on the Joker is that all covers were cardstock. So all the cardstock covers have been a justification for DC to charge an extra $1. I don't think that's worth it, especially since they changed the cover stock. It used to be the cardstock covers were like really shiny and they felt really high quality. They've changed those. Those are still nicer than a regular paper cover, but they don't feel as high quality. So I don't like that they're still charging a full extra $1. But they've created the market and they're soaking the market. I predicted this way back when they started doing cardstock covers, I think for Tom King's run. So that would be 2019 is when they really started leaning hard on these cardstock covers for $1 extra. I think this is going to be a $6 book going forward. They will probably do at most 2 issues. So maybe January and February will be $5, $4.99. I think starting at the very latest in March, it will be a $6.99 book. I am planning currently to be buying this book because of the first backup by Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks. Philip Kennedy Johnson and Rafa Sandoval are doing the main story. Lee Williams and Marguerite Sauvage are doing the Power Girl story. So I want to do a quick check on something. Black Adam. So that's not good. It says Rafa Sandoval is on Action Comics now, which indicates to me that Black Adam, let's do a check. Yes. This is very disappointing because it means that Black Adam has lost its artist. They're putting Eddie Barrows on the art. Now, I like Eddie Barrows. He's consistent. He does tend to get behind and need a fill-in artist, which is not good, which is probably why they had to delay this book. This is just really disappointing to me. I was really loving Rafa Sandoval's art. I am really loving Rafa Sandoval's art on this book, although I think he also has a tendency to get behind. I think it's because Action Comics is a bigger gig. So that's just kind of the way it is. I can't do anything about it. I will get to buy it, but I'm buying this book for the Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks story. I don't like that Leah Williams is doing a parkour story, but I think it could be funny. That could be the kind of story where her brand is sort of edgy, off kilter, off the wall, self-aware humor could really work. Because I know that Power Girl has had that before with Amanda Connor. So this could work. Marguerite Sauvage, she's done some funny stuff before. She often works with Margaret Bennett, but she recently did a couple issues of Wonder Woman with Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad. So let's take a look at our covers. We've got, oh my goodness, so many covers. We've got main cover by Dan Mora, variants by Steve Beach, Jorge Fornes, Sergio Davila, Rafa Sandoval, David Nakayama, and Lee Weeks. 1 in 25 variant by Jack Herbert, a 1 in 50 by Dan Mora, and that's a foil variant. So it's probably the same cover, but with foil. And a 1 in 100 embossed variant cover by Steve Beach. So it's probably the same Steve Beach color, but like with texture, maybe some foil. I don't know. I probably will plan to get the Lee Weeks cover just because that's why I'm buying the book. And if he does it, I'm going to tell my shop I want all the Lee Weeks covers, especially because Lee Weeks definitely has a tendency to get behind. And so there's a good chance that he'll have some off weeks. Now, one hopes with a backup story he'd be able to keep up, but he has been injured several times. So it's very possible that, like when he was doing Superman and Lois, The Road to Rebirth, with Dan Jurgens again, he'll have to drop off and do just covers again for some of those issues. So this is the main Dan Mora cover. We've got Superman, John, Superman of China. I think that I don't remember what Natalie Irons' name is. Supergirl, Kara, Superboy, Connor, and I think the big feature of Connor is why they're having to take such a delay on the Superboy miniseries. Honestly, I feel like they should have just pushed the Superboy miniseries faster so it could get done before this, and then he could return with Clark. But apparently, they didn't want to do that. And these twins, I've heard they're part of the whole Warworld saga. I haven't read much of that, so I don't know. But they're apparently a big new thing. Here's Rafa Sandoval. So he's doing the main art, and this is, I really love this art. I really love it on Black Adam. I'm very disappointed that they're yanking him. That's really disappointing. At least they're not putting Fernando Pasaran on Black Adam. Well, they might since he's leaving Flash. And here's the Power Girl cover, and this is by Davila, not Marguerite Savage, which is interesting. And see, this is why I think it might. So you got the demons, and she just beat them up, and she's like hitchhiking, and she's like super like strong looking. I think that's why like Leah Williams might have a really fun story there, even though I really don't like most of her work. I really didn't like her Emma Frost stuff, even though she loves Emma Frost. So here's the David Nakayama, very standard stuff. And here's the Lee Weeks, Superboy, John jumping, and I don't remember what their dog's called. It doesn't look like Crypto, but it could be. And it's in that same period as Superman versus Lois. So my guess, so Dan Jurgens has said this takes place right after the Death of Superman 30th anniversary sort of anthology, where John learns that Superman died. And that I think is right after. So I think this might take place basically during the first like year of Rebirth, but it could also be taking place. No, it must, because yeah. Who's this? Don't recognize that style, but it is looking very cool. Kind of generic, but cool. There's a Superman by a robot by Fornes. Is Fornes listed? And Steve Beach. So this is the one that must be embossed. So I probably are going to do both foil and it's going to punch out. That skull's going to be punched out. Very cool. Jack Herbert. That must be that guy. That was a 1 in 25. And so this is called Lois and Clark 2 Doom Rising. So I wonder if they're going to run this for a year, in which case we're definitely having some fill-ins because Lee Weeks is not going to be able to keep up a schedule for a year, even on backups. Because that would be 6 issues, which would be a good trade by itself. If they decide to print this in trades with Action Comics, which is possible, but doesn't make sense to me, then maybe it'll only be 6 issues. I don't know what I hope for. I don't know if I want to buy a whole year of Action Comics, especially at $7, $6 a pop. But we'll see. If I really love it, I will keep buying it because I do love Lee Weeks and Dan Jurgens. World's Finest continues. Justice Society of America, they're starting to pop it with a bunch of variants. They did announce that this is a 12-issue miniseries, which is the right call with Jeff Johns. I'm still just waiting for this to get delayed. Although Michael Hanin has been really consistent. He's like one of DC's sort of A-list but fill-in guys. So like if you and he did a lot of Tom King's later stuff where there was clearly a lot of scheduling problems. So like Tom King was like, I work with Mihail, I'll do that. And so this is looks like a time guy, Clock King. I guess there's going to be some Clock King craziness with the Justice Society of America. Stargirl, not planning on reading that. I might read Justice Society because I like Huntress and I'm curious about these guys, but I'm not super excited. DC Power, I wonder, they have the new Shazam guy on the cover on one of these variants right here. So I wonder if they're going to have Christopher Priest, in which case it would be hard because I'd like to get that, but I don't have a connection to most of these characters. So I do like, now if Priest writes Ace or Wallace and Malik in a story together, that would be awesome because I really liked what Priest did with Wallace in Deathstroke. That was really cool. Flash 791. So they solicited the first issue of Wonder Man War for January last month. So this is a second issue. And they're bumping out I really hate this, a variant program. So Flash is doing, so that's not the main cover. This is the main cover by Tara Clark, I think. Is Tara Clark doing the main cover? Yes, main cover is Tara Clark. Variant by Daniel Bayless. So this is variant by Daniel Bayless. So that's a regular variant. This is one of the incentives. It's cute, but I don't. And this is another. This is Kim Jacinto. I really don't like Kim Jacinto that much, and I really am not going to pay for that. Yeah. I hope it's just the beginning of the year thing. I'm probably just going to get the main cover. I'm not the biggest fan of Tara Clark, but this is pretty cool. You got the 3 Flash guys and the villain. That's cool. And they're doing a 1-minute war special. And it's going to probably be various Flash family short stories that all tie in. So that's very cool. You got our main cover by Sarah Gakuna, who did the art for the annual, which was really nice. I'm definitely getting this because I'm loving Flash. I'm loving the Flash family. So I'm supporting this and I'm enjoying it. Definitely my favorite. It's just the most accessible. I do love both Fables and Black Adam, which are the other non-Batman titles I believe I'm getting right now. But Flash is just so much fun and heartwarming and immediate. And I know that Christopher Priest and Bill Willingham build long stories and they're very satisfying in the end, but they're slow burns, both of them. And I appreciate that. But it means that in terms of the month to month, I enjoy some things more, even though I like looking back and saying, oh man, I'm so glad I read this as it came out. It's so intense reading it all together. I feel sort of similar about Tom King too. And I really like a lot of Tom King. Speaking of Tom King, we've got Danger Street #2. This was delayed a lot. I don't know if that meant there was a lot of retooling. I do love Jorge Fornes. I am really hoping that this is not another Strange Adventures or Rorschach, which really turned me off. I'm hoping this is more, although I don't know. I'm going to try it out, definitely. But I'm kind of 50-50 on Tom King at this point. Waller versus Wildstorm, don't care. Wildcats, don't care. Sandman, already read. What about Sandman Universe? Green Hell, Batman the Imposter. These are trades. For some reason, they stuck a ton of trades in the middle of DC Connect, and those, I'm pretty sure they just copy and paste and then format the pictures from DC Connect or the file that they use to create DC Connect when they send them out to solicit. And there was a ton of trades in the middle. I don't know why. I don't understand the way DC thinks, what they think they're getting from this organization pattern, but it's the way they do it. So skipping a ton of trades. So this one we're not skipping. This is solicitation. Trades are usually solicited earlier. So this is solicited for March. This is Teen Titans Robin. Now let me... So I got Teen Titans. Let me hide my screen here so you can see it. Teen Titans Beast Boy Loves Raven. And this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive. Has this little sticker on it because it has actual specific art. So this is a variant cover for trade. They haven't done these a ton, But with Barnes and Noble, they really like to like give something extra. So this is the extra. You get this cover, and you get some cool like extra photos that the artist Gabriel Piccolo has done, and he just loves the Teen Titans. He loves doing this kind of thing. I didn't like the first couple of this book. Like I didn't hate them, but I prefer. I don't know. This is a romance, and I love romance, and I really like the way that Kevin Garcia did this romance. It had Robin in it, and he was really cool. I'm really excited about Teen Titans Robin. It took 2 years to do this. I don't know why. Kevin Garcia has been really busy. She's written a bunch of other books for DC, and I think she's written other like prose books too. But I wish they'd kind of put more of a priority on this. She said she has. So this is book 4. I think she said there's like a 6-book plan, and that would let her bring in like Starfire and who else? Cyborg. I don't know who all they're going to bring in, but this is cool. This is an alternate universe Teen Titans. It's very accessible. It's very cute. It has a different take. It's much more like street Teen Titans. It's less like heightened reality Teen Titans. It's obviously still fantasy, it's comic book stuff, but I just really like it. And it's sold like hotcakes. Barnes & Noble does not do special editions unless this is a New York Times bestselling series. It sells a lot. Very popular. It's got that both teen angsty, but also really like accessible, very emotional. A lot of DC's teen offerings tend to be way too angsty, in my opinion. This focuses on some of the positive stuff that you can get, some of the really cute and fun and still like relatable struggles, but just superhero-y. It's really good. I definitely understand why it's a bestseller, and I'm very excited. I hope that it continues to have success and continues to be a big thing that will shape DC's line more than all these really dreary stories. And it's not that the dreary stories are necessarily bad, but it's overwhelming, and it's just like everything's like that. It's very dreary, and then the fact that they're all like that is dreary-er. So that is Teen Titans Robin. No word yet on whether this is going to have a Barnes & Noble exclusive. If it does, I probably will get it. If it's I base getting exclusives, especially when they're the same price, on whether I like them more or not than the main cover. I really like this main cover. It's Dick and Damian. Great relationship. But if they do like them, I could see them like doing Dick and Damian facing off against each other. So they're opposite sides, looking in opposite directions, but looking back towards each other. But I could see the variant being them facing each other. I think that'd be really cool. And I could do that because there is a certain exclusivity thing that I like about the variant covers that you can get. Sort of shows that you did research and you cared about what you got, or you're completely stupid and don't know what's happening. So we've got a Sarah Kuhn and Ariel Jovellanos Lois Lane story. I really didn't like the last Lois Lane young adult project, and that was a prose novel. I really didn't like the Lois Lane solo series by Greg Rucka, and I normally love Greg Rucka. I did like Shadow the Batgirl, though, and this looks like better art than Shadow the Batgirl. I like the punk attitude of the art, but the fighting in the combat and the action in Shadow the Batgirl was awful. Very monotonous and repetitive. But Sarah Kuhn did a good job in writing that, so I'll probably give this a try. Definitely a library try. And it might, actually, this might be on DC Universe Ultra. This is solicited for April. I've got a year subscription going to end in October of next year. So, yeah, there's a good chance I'll actually be able to read this on DC Universe Ultra. That'd be really cool. Paid you $100, DC. Bruce Wayne, not super. This is solicited for March also. So this is halfway through March. Honestly, though, this feels a lot like... This feels a lot like Secret Hero Society by Dustin Nguyen and Derek Friedolfs. I don't really understand why they're not doing more of these. I know Dustin Nguyen would prefer not to, and he's very busy doing his other stuff, but I don't know. DC... I know that I just defended like doing the same thing that other people have done before, but when those people are still around doing stuff, it feels like maybe you should, or you should let those guys do it. This does look fun. The Teen Titans Teen Titans Robins, for some reason I got really excited. I enjoy the sort of originality of the concept, whereas the Bruce Wayne Not Super doesn't really dig. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's the teen characters. I prefer seeing the teen characters in those contexts, and I prefer seeing the adult characters do their adult things. I have very little interest in Bruce Wayne as a teenager, unless it's by Chip Zdarsky in Batman the Night, which was awesome, and everyone should read it. That just finished up, so just wanted to give that plug. I'm sure the trade's coming out soon. So here's an interesting thing. Batgirl's number 14 is going to be a silent issue. DC used to do like a whole month of silent issues, and it's going to focus on Cassandra Cain. Says she's mourning her bestie. Now we know Steph's not going to die, and we know that Steph is kidnapped by Cluemaster. Main cover by Jorge Corona. It's nice. Variant cover. So this is the Dan Hip. So Dan Hip is taking over at least this month of incentive variants. This is a 125. I really like that Dan Hip is doing a little Robin keychain, and then there's a Batgirl keychain for Cassandra. They're eating. There's a lot of eating. I think Jessica Chen might do a lot of like, okay, do Steph and Cass eating because it's funny and cute. I don't know. This is nice. I'm definitely not paying for it. I like the Ryan Gonzalez a little bit better, but it's definitely nice, and Dan Hip is a good get. So this is the pencils, or I want to say this is just the roughs. It doesn't even look like inks for Art Germ's variant. I am getting this. This is the cardstock variant. It is Art Germ doing Stephanie Brown Batgirl and Cassandra Cain Batgirl again. I've got the individuals in trade or in whatever it appeared, but this is the one I'm getting. I'm getting this Art Germ variant. I just love Art Germ, especially doing Stephanie Brown. Batman Incorporated. So this is interesting. It's 5-issue arc, although technically 6 issues if you count that annual, even though it's sort of not connected, sort of is connected. I am 100% sure that annual is collected in the trade. Ed Brisson, John Timms continue. It's got 1 in 50 variants. This is really disappointing. It says that Batman Inc. have been defeated. Kind of quick for that to happen, but Ghostmaker, this is a Ghostmaker focused story, very heavily tying back to the Night stuff that Chip Zdarsky did. So that's cool to see. Here is our In-hyuk Lee variant featuring a bunch of new characters, but specifically this is, I think, the Red Mist from Ireland. Batman Inc. Associated member. Here's Red Mist design variant. This is 1 in 25. So I've bought one of these incentive design variants. They are really cool. I don't like that they're incentive variants. And here's a Knight variant. That's very cool too. I do like the Knight. I do wish that we had Knight and Squire still, because I like Beryl as the girl Squire, sort of like Steph Robin. But I do like that she stepped up and become Knight. Would be cool if they'd let Steph stick around and do that too. Gilded City, the video game tie-in continues. Jim Lee continue. Oh, wait, no, that's Greg Capullo. Sorry. Greg Capullo main cover. Audio Adventures. So here's what I was talking about. Black Adam. So we had a week break. They have not renewed this series for a new, what do you call it? Like an extension or a season 2. I really hope they do. I know Reese wants them to. The fact that they're switching artists is not a good sign. I don't know. I'm loving this series, but it feels like no one's talking about it. And because it's so different than the style of the movie, and they have tie-in things to the movie, I'm just worried. I know, I'm pretty sure we're getting our full 12 issues, but I'm just sad because it feels like we're not getting more. Even though I understand why. It's a little difficult of a comic. It's very cerebral, very tricky. Priest pushed a lot of buttons on purpose, and I did not mind those buttons, but a lot of people really did mind those buttons. Okay, so in terms of covers, main covers have been by Irvin Rodriguez. I've liked some of them. I stopped getting them with the current issue. I'm getting the Rafa Sandoval variants right now. So variants by Sergio Davila, who's been doing a lot of variants this month, and also Taj Tenfold. 1 in 25 variant incentive by Clayton Henry. I'm not happy that they're doing these incentives. I really am not happy. So this is Urban Rodriguez taking an earlier image of Black Adam and messing it up. I'm sure that's what Priest and the editor sort of worked out together to do. Not a big fan of that. I'm also, however, not a huge fan of these variants. I don't like this attitude thing. It's sort of like the sticking tongue out thing for guys. I just don't like it. This one's not bad by Sergio Davila, but it also doesn't really stand out to me. It is very thematically linked, though, to what's going on in the comic, so I might get that. And I like this one, but it's the incentive variant, so I'm not getting it. Blue Beetle Graduation Day. So this one I need to check something. Let's see. Blue Beetle Graduation Day started in October. We did it? Nope, it wasn't. It must be November. Okay, yes. So Adrian Gutierrez is oh good. So it's still Adrian Gutierrez. This was originally a round robin story. It lost in I think round 3. So it wasn't a finalist or a semifinalist. I don't know. Might have been a quarterfinalist, but clearly it was popular. I really like the concept. I did vote for it, even though I wanted Robbins to win. This was the book, one of the books that went up against Robbins, and everyone was really pissed. I really loved Robbins. I'm really excited about the winner this year of Superboy. I don't know. I wish they'd release that book. So this is the cover by Adrian Gutierrez. It's a selfie cover, not a variant. Sort of fits with Jaime's. He's a Zoomer vibe, I think. He might have technically been a millennial back when he was created after Infinite. Yeah, I think he's technically a millennial then, but they're keeping him like he's going to become a college student, so he's graduating from high school. So now he's a Zoomer, and that fits with that. Although millennials like selfies too. You got Starfire and you got Green Beetle. This book looks like it'd be really cool. I like the energy that the art has to it, and the pitch sounds cool. So I'm excited about this book. Catwoman continues to suck, and I'm disappointed that Teenie Howard's still in the book. Aiko is going to be the costume Catwoman, and Selena is going to be like in jail or something. I just don't care. I don't like this book. I have to keep reading because I'm assigned to reviews. Sergeant Rock versus Army of the Dead, not paying really attention to it. Fables, so this is 9 of 12, so this is entering the final 4 issues, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is the first of the final 4 issues. Oftentimes, a comic writer will really ramp up at this point. We just hit the 6th issue in terms of release, and that really ramped up in one of the plots, so I am excited. This definitely looks like bad stuff is happening. Now, is that... so this is Corinne Reed, so that's a change from Christina, who's been doing the main covers for the first 8 issues. But it looks cool. Slightly less polished, but it could be a not final cover. They could add another layer of polish to it before they release it. They're definitely going to add trade dress. They don't have the Mark Buckingham variant. Those have been really good too, but I don't like double buying, so I'm just buying the main covers because I do really like those. And they're very similar to the Fables covers that were released with the original series by James Jean and a couple other artists. GCPD The Boo Wall, 6-issue miniseries, John Ridley. I like the idea of this. I've read the first issue and I was disappointed. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't very sharp either. So it just feels mediocre, which a lot of John Ridley's books have felt to me. Harley Quinn's. This is our second to last issue by Stephanie Phillips, art by Matteo Lolli. There's been a kind of a revolving door of artists on this, especially since they did the weekly thing, which I think was a big mistake. I don't know. So Kevin is hanging out still, and that's been the relationship between Harley and Kevin, her being a mentor to him, both of them working through the fact that they both work for the Joker. Really good concept, really well executed. When the book gets away from that concept, I think is where it really suffers, and it has several times. And I think that Stephanie Phillips should really stick to that concept she created and did so well. Like, it's brilliant, really good development, got that same energy, and you really feel for Kevin. Although I think Riley Rossmo drew Kevin best because he kind of co-created him. I kind of miss him on the book. I don't like the fact that he's on Tim Drake. I'm not reading the animated series tie-in. I'm not reading I Am Batman, although Tiffany Fox is now becoming a costumed hero without a bat on her, and John really keeps saying, well, you can't call her a Robin, you can't call her Batgirl. I don't know what she is. Maybe they'll give her a name. And Christian Duce is still on this book. I really like Christian Duce's art, but I wish that he was on Flash again, because I really liked it when he was doing Flash. I'm not reading either of those titles. Punchline continues. Oh, the variants on Punchline have been really nice. A lot of good. Yeah, these are really nice variants. I just don't trust this creator team at all. Again, I've read the first issue of this. It wasn't bad. Definitely better than what Catwoman was giving me. But we'll see how the plotting and the characterization goes. Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries. Now, this has been really weird. Sometimes they've advertised this as a 12-issue miniseries. Sometimes they have not. It's one of the only comics that's going for $3 instead of $4, which is their typical, DC's typical. And this is written by Amanda Deber. So the first issue was Charlie Fish. Second issue was Ivan Cohen. Third issue was a different artist, writer. This fourth issue is also a different writer. So it feels like they're not letting Charlie Fish write almost any of this series, which is really disappointing because Charlie Fish writes the best ones. He's so good. He's so layered and so funny, but also emotional. Amanda Deber could do good, though. I haven't seen her with something this wacky, though. Human Target, second to last issue. And we have 2 variant covers, but I don't think we have. So there's 3 listed. So this is our main cover by Greg Smallwood, who's also the interior artist. This is our variant cover by Carmine Di Giamenico. Really love this cover. I mean, I love the main cover too. I'm still really angry at both the Human Target and Ice because they murdered someone and then had sex right in front of his body. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be mad, but I don't enjoy it. I was enjoying the book to that point. So honestly, I kind of don't want Christopher Chance to live because he murdered someone. Tim Drake Robin continues, and this is number 5. We still don't have a Stephanie Brown variant, although cover number 3 is going to have Stephanie Brown on the main cover by Riley Rossmo. We have a new artist, Ricardo Ortiz, who did a lot of good work with James Tynan on the backups and the annual for Ghostmaker, which weren't my favorite, but he is a good artist, very anime inspired, which is cool. Junie Baugh is doing this cover, and that's clearly a reference to some of the previous covers. They credit it to, I want to say, either Dan Mora or Nick Robles, so that's weird. There seems to be a lot of mistakes in terms of their credits and the covers they're releasing. DC editorial, please fix your releases. Titans United, still not reading that. Wonder Woman. Amin K. Nwelpan is jumping over to Wonder Woman. I really like his work. I kind of wish he'd stay on Flash, though. Maybe Flash doesn't make enough money, but I really like Amin K. Nwelpan. He's a really good job. And I think he'll do a really good job on Wonder Woman, too. And this is a cover by Yannick Paquette. Cover by David Nakayama. Covered by Mitch Gerrits. Actually, a pretty decent one. I kind of like that. I don't usually like Mitch Gerrits, but I like that cover. And, that's Jamal Campbell. Also really cool. So they're doing a big focus on Yara Flor. So Yara Flor, they were trying to get Joelle Jones to make her a thing, but then Joelle Jones ran into a bunch of trouble, including not being able to finish her art on time. So she had a bunch of fill-in artists. And she ran into a plagiarism scandal where a lot of her, not a lot, but several significant pieces were shown to be traced from other comics artists. Now people were criticizing, well, you don't criticize Greg Land. Okay, I criticize Greg Land all the time. Quite apart from the fact that he's tracing from Horn, I don't like his art. But it's different tracing from models or using Poser, which is CGI computer raised, like you generate the And Greg Smallwood does this too. He generates the CGI and then draws over it. That is different to me than tracing over someone else's comic art. Everyone uses models. Everyone uses shortcuts. It feels wrong to use the same art that another professional did for the same medium. And some people disagree. Some people think that's hypocritical, but that's how I feel about that one. And I like Joelle Jones's art. I don't like her her layouts. I don't think she's very good at action. At least she wasn't when she was working Tom King. That could be a writer thing. Tom King did say he couldn't figure out how to write for her until she left. But it sounds like DC is not super interested in giving her a spotlight, and so they're giving Yara Flor to Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad, which is cool. We have a bunch of Wonder Women who are not being used, which is disappointing. I would like to see Donna more, but so more trades. Batgirls Volume 2. I've been enjoying this series. We haven't got. Oh, we already did that. So okay, so there's more trades. Dark Knight Detective Volume 7. So this, in my opinion, is so this is solicited for February. So hopefully we'll see the next volume in like June. This should be the last volume of Dark Knight Detective before we get the start of Chuck Dixon's run and the creation of Stephanie Brown. And I really hope that we get that, because I will buy the heck out of that trade. I have the individual issues, but I would love the trade so that I can show it, because those, the older issues tend to get fragile. Plus, there's a bunch of other good stories in that run. I think we'd probably get 640. Let's see, it goes. The last chronological issue is 643. So I think we go 644 to 650, maybe even further. That's actually not that many. So 644 to 650. Stephanie Brown is 647 to 649. 650 is a really great issue. There's just a bunch of really great issues. I would love to buy that Dark Knight Detective Volume 8. I really hope they do that. But this has slipped. This was, I think, solicited a whole year and a half ago. So this has slipped quite a bit. This is almost certainly not the cover they're going to go with. But I love this series. They reprinted the Batman Annual #1 by Denny O'Neil and Klaus Janson, which is one of the greatest annuals. It's definitely the greatest Talia story I've ever read. Just really good. Batman the Detective Trade, Birds of Prey. So, this pisses me off so much. So they're continuing to skip forward on Birds of Prey. They skipped a whole volume of Birds of Prey. I hope they go backwards and do it. I don't understand why they skipped that volume. This has no Gail Simone. It has the whole Sean McKeever arc, and then it's the Tony Bedard 2 arcs before the end of the series. I hate those 2 Tony Bedard arcs. They had really great art by Nicholas Scott and a couple other artists, but I hate these things. Had a lot of potential, but it's just miserable. Miserable story. And they're continuing to reprint Jaime Reyes' first Spinning Out of Infinite Crisis run back in 2006-ish. Dwayne McDuffie omnibus. Is this an omnibus? 280. That's not an omnibus. That's just like an oversized trade, I think, like a double trade. So a normal trade would be 6 issues of 20 issues, 120 pages, so approximately. Could be 132 pages if it's a 22-page story per. So this is 280 pages, which is roughly double-sized trade. So about 12 to 13 issues, which is a lot of the trades DC likes to print nowadays for archives, because it's sort of, I don't know, it's I like those. Less money, you get good content, good bang for your buck. I don't know anything about these comics, though. I never read any of these. But yeah, Dwayne McDuffie was beloved, very good writer. Joker Volume 3, this brings it to an end. Joker's 10 through 15, really good series. I'm not going to be buying any of the trades because I bought all the single issues, but I loved this series because of about Jim Gordon, not because of about the Joker. I hate the Joker. I'm not buying the current run because it doesn't have Jim Gordon, and it's very like Philip K. Dick. Is it real? And I hate those stories, so I'm not buying it. All right, so that's it. And for some reason, they're reprinting Who is Wonder Woman again. And I don't actually know if the deluxe edition has been collected before. I bought this arc in the Walmart. They reprinted this in the Walmart run. And interestingly, there were like big jumps, like 2 to 3 to even 4 months, I think, between like the last couple of issues of this arc, which is why Heinberg kind of got the boot. And they went to Jody Picoult. And then they went to Amazon's Attack, which sucked. And then they went to Gail Simone. So Gail Simone then did like 3 years, and they were pretty solid. Not my favorite. I really prefer Greg Rucka, but Simone was a decent run, especially first arc. I hate to say that because everyone says the Circle is greatest. It really is a really good arc. Very thoughtful, very cool, good art. But yeah, I didn't really like this arc. Had good art by the Dodsons, but just kind of meh in terms of the writing. Too much going on. Didn't really come to care about the characters. If I already care about the characters, but yeah. So that is DC's January 2023 solicitations. Please let me know what you're looking forward to. I'd love to talk about it in the comments. You can tweet at me or whatever. But thanks for joining me in exploring these solicitations. Still a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward to from DC. So yeah, I'll see you next month.